Is that recording on your end as well?
It said recording in progress, so I think we're good.
All right, buddy. Hey, buddy.
How's it going?
Good, man. Good to see you again.
You too.
I've,
You too.
it's cool to reconnect after, now that we're both such big titans in the podcast industry. Kind of revisit our past success and have a good chat.
Yeah, exactly. It's
I've
overwhelming.
I've gone through the 12 people I know, and now I'm cycling back and redoing them all again.
I know. I feel you. I feel you for sure. Hey, before we do this, I want to say happy birthday to you and your beautiful face.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's kind of, when we were talking about me coming to you to try to get my fitness back in check, thought the birthday idea would be fun as kind of a kickoff date and just do it this way. So I thought if I do a podcast about it and kind of put it out there, it's going to hopefully be a little more incentive for me to stay focused and committed to something, because that's something I've had trouble with in the past.
Well, I think the biggest thing for anybody doing anything is the accountability and the support. So the fact that one, you hired a coach is one. Two, you're like making a podcast about it so that people are going to know, hey, I'm on this fitness journey. And then so it kind of gives you a little bit more accountability to make sure that you stick with the program, because a lot of people, start something and quit. I'm guilty of it. I'm sure you're guilty of it, starting a program and then quitting, a couple of weeks later. But, the fact that you're kind of putting it out there, being like, hey, this is what I'm doing. It kind of gives you a little bit more incentive and accountability to stay locked in and get past that hump where you normally quit, where most people quit.
Yeah. And I got to, hand it to you. You're a good salesman, because you got me locked in for a 3-month commitment.
Hey, you're lucky. Usually it's more than that, but I gave you a little bit of a deal. But
yeah, I tried to just do one, but you're like, come on, let's do 3. I'm like, all right, buddy, let's do 3. So,
like one is not enough. Like most people, like 3 months is like a minimum that you should do. I like to go longer because 12 weeks is not enough time to, like, you'll see good results in 12 weeks, but 16 weeks is better. 24 weeks is better, right? And I think the biggest thing is, they say it takes 21 days to develop a habit and then 90 days to develop a lifestyle. So that 90 days is if you go 90 days straight, right, without any hiccups, where a lot of people will have a couple hiccups here and kind of have to regroup and restart. So if that does happen somewhere in that 12 weeks, then you're not really going to be in full momentum moving forward, right? So and that is the biggest thing, is getting into momentum and then staying in momentum, right? Because usually what happens is, like, somebody, you will slip. Some people slip, they'll have a bad night or a bad weekend, and the important thing is that you get back on track right away. Whereas most people will slip and then they'll let a bad night turn into a bad weekend, turn into a bad week, and then all of a sudden they're back to where they started and then they quit, right?
That's basically, that's been my story, since my 20s, or whenever I, do the gym for a while. Lately, I find it's like an injury, it could be anything though. I find I'm just a person who's I make excuses. This is my self-assessment of my behavior lately. Like, that's something that I'm trying to address. I was telling somebody about that on the podcast the other day. Like, before I even get started, I'm making these, I don't work hard. I'm lazy. I'm saying these, it's like I've got these negative,
self-limiting beliefs, I like to call them, right? I make excuses. I can't do this. I'm lazy, or whatever you like to tell yourself. That's just something that you've like wired in your brain, but you can rewire it just like you can rewire anything, right? So maybe you were a guy who made excuses, but now we're gonna change that, and we're not just gonna change, get you absolutely shredded, but we're also gonna like change your mindset and your outlook on things, right? And get rid of those self-limiting beliefs where a lot of people have, where they don't believe in themselves because they failed so much in the past. And that's where a lot of my clients are the same. Like, they've tried so many times and like nothing works. And they've tried everything other than staying consistent for longer than when they normally quit, right? So it's just kind of the big thing that I talk a lot about is mindset. Because if you don't have, your mindset isn't locked in, then you probably are gonna fail, because you'll let that bad day turn into a bad weekend, turn into a bad week, right? Where it's like, if you realize that, hey, no, it's not gonna be perfect. I don't expect you to be perfect. If you have a bad meal or a bad night, then whatever, just get back on track the next day and don't beat yourself
Yeah.
up about it.
Yeah, I have to say one of the things that that kind of was another little trigger for me to reach out to you and say I'm going to try Doug's program was I listened to your podcast there where you talked. It was only a short one where you talked about your path to where you've gotten, and you really talked about a huge issue for you, which was your alcoholism. I didn't, like I said, the first time we talked on the podcast, I didn't realize it was that serious, but the fact that
Yeah.
you identified it and kind of were like, you made a serious life adjustment at that moment and you've stuck to it. Like, frankly, you've been, you're an inspiring person, like where your life is going, your trajectory. So I'm going to grab onto your coattail and try to take advantage of a little bit of that for myself.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hop on board. I'll take you. I'll take you. But yeah, like I think the biggest thing is self-awareness and being aware of your own issues, whether it is, for me with alcohol and or whatever, but with just your overall health, right?
Mm.
If you find that you are a person who has all these bad habits, assessing yourself, realizing that, hey, these bad habits are going to eventually catch up to me, and you want to get ahead of it. You don't want to
Yeah.
wait until you're in the hospital. Okay, what can I do now to fix this? When you can take preventative measures and start now, so that you don't have to, you know, try to fix it when the damage is already done. You start now and prevent it. And I always talk about, it's not about weight loss. Like, it's not about looking good in a bikini on the beach, right? I mean, that's obviously what people want, but it's about health and being a good example for your kids, right? Because they're watching you, right? And if you're an unhealthy person, like I always say, it's like, usually what happens is, if you're overweight or unhealthy, your parents were probably overweight and unhealthy, and their parents, and so on and so forth. So chances are, just by looking at that, your kids are probably going to end up being the same when they get older. So if you can be the generational change and be like, hey, I'm going to make a difference now. I'm going to change my lifestyle now, show my kids what it's like to live a healthy lifestyle. And then it'll benefit them in the long run, and it'll benefit their kids in the long run, because they'll adapt the habits that you've instilled in them, rather than just, telling them, hey, eat your vegetables and exercise, because, you lead by example.
Yeah, and I think like I get another thing here to sort of motivate me as well. Is like my son is trying to play a higher level of soccer and wants to. He's got to do more training and stuff. So I'm like, okay, well maybe we can do some stuff together. Like if he sees his father in the garage at the weights and doing some stuff, maybe he'll want to join me. And I'm hoping that the two of us can kind of help me, help him. Just help each other by being, like you said, being a good example, being a better role model in that way. Like, I know I'm a good dad, but I could always do better. So
For
that's
sure.
hopefully going
We
to
could,
inspire him.
yeah, we could always do better. And I love that you guys are kind of making it like a thing between you two, which is, I'm releasing a podcast today. I talked to Kara Roberts, who is she owns a supplement store here in Prince George. And we just basically talked all about like athletic performance in youth in sports, right? Because it all starts with the parents, because
Yeah.
it's all about how you feel and how you fuel your body. But like, for if you think of yourself as a parent, if you're not eating healthy and you're not feeling good, how do you think your kids are feeling when they're expected to go perform at a higher level, when they're not fueling their body properly? So it all comes down to the parents, learning how to do it properly for themselves, and then passing it on to their kids. Because people spend money on equipment, they'll spend money on hiring a coach, but they won't spend money on learning how to fuel their body properly, when that's probably the most important thing. Like,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter if you have like the best hockey stick if you're not like performing at a peak level, right?
Yeah.
So
On that note, like I'm hoping that the energy levels will improve too, because there are times when it's like the kids will be like, hey, do you want to go for a walk or go kick the soccer ball? And you're like, oh, I had a long day. I'm going to chill. And I'm guilty of doing that too many times. And I'm looking forward to maybe not doing that as much in the future and, taking a more active role, just being present, instead of let's watch a movie or something together. Let's go to the park instead, or let's get out of here and go on the bikes. Let's do something fun. Like, and so I'm hoping it all kind of compounds to better energy, better role model, better connection with my family. It's all part of
yeah,
the
for sure.
puzzle.
Yeah, for sure. And the first thing you're probably going to notice is that like surge of energy, just because you're fueling your body properly or moving your body properly. That is the first thing. Before you notice your ripped abs coming through, you're going to notice that you have a lot more energy and you feel better, which is, what people want, right? Obviously, you want the six pack and the whatever. But you want to feel good. Everybody just wants to feel good. And that is the biggest thing that people want. And you kind of talk about not doing things with your kids because you're tired, which, a lot of people do that. They will miss out on those moments with their kids because of how they feel, right? Whether there is a lack
Yeah,
of energy or, a lack of confidence where they're like, I don't want to go in the pool with my kids because I know I feel self-conscious or about, how I look. When they're only going to be that age for a short amount of time. And if you're
yeah, it's
missing
super
out on,
limited.
yeah, and if you're missing out on those special moments with your kids because of stuff like that, you're gonna look back and be like, I wish I would have just, lived in the moment with my kids when they're splashing around the pool rather than watching them from the beach in a towel, right?
Yeah,
When they're like, "Hey, mom, dad, come play with me." You're like, "No, go play. I'll watch." Whereas like,
yeah,
no, they just want you there. Like your kids don't care if you have cellulite, your kids do
yeah,
not care what you look like in a bikini. Like they
yeah,
don't care. They just
yeah,
want you to be there and enjoy those moments with them. So if you are, sacrificing those moments because of how you feel, you're going to regret it. You're going to look back
yeah.
and be like, I wish I would have just not cared, because at the end of the day, nobody cares what you look like. Like the
No,
only
it's all
person,
in our own head. It's our
yeah,
own perception of how the world sees us, but everybody's going through it.
the
Everybody's
only
going through
person
their
that,
own. Sorry.
for sure. Yeah, no, the only person that cares about your cellulite is you, right? The
Yeah,
only
maybe
person
my
who
wife.
cares
My
about
wife a little bit, probably.
yeah, but just like in general, like for women, they think that everybody's worried about their cellulite or how they look in their bikini. It's like nobody cares except for you. Like
Yeah.
you're the only one who cares.
Yeah,
Like,
it's funny. We all have those inner monologues and we all go through it and we all know it. This is something too, like I said, like I know these things about myself. I know I'm a procrastinator. I know I may like that's the hardest thing is like I know these issues that I've got to deal with, but knowing it isn't enough. I've got to figure out how to move beyond it. That's the
yeah,
struggle, and that's why I reached out to see if you can fix me. So you basically guaranteed me six pack abs. You keep talking about them, so and I
I
had
mean,
given up on that dream in my mid 30s. I was
yeah,
like, the abs just aren't. They're not in the books for me. It's not going to
yeah.
happen.
If you like, if you like, if you do everything, if you follow the program, like if you do all the things that are required, you will see results. Like it's guaranteed. Like
Yeah.
the the blueprint, I'm giving you like the exact blueprint. Like the formula is not difficult. Like the
Mhm.
formula is very easy. People think it's like complicated, like they need to, keto or whatever. Like they need to find the super fancy workout, but it's the formula is very simple, and I'm gonna lay it out for you. And if you just follow it, you will see results.
Yeah.
And with the weekly check-ins, when we check in, like if you're doing the stuff and you're not seeing results, then you don't just got to make a couple adjustments to the nutrition.
Mhm.
Maybe just adapt. You kind of adapt on the fly, and we'll work together with that. But you will see results, and the people that follow the program get results, and the people who are very inconsistent with it, they only track their food a couple of days. They only get your steps in a couple of days. They're not drinking their water, whatever. Or you'll get some people who will do the workouts. They did their 4 to 5 workouts, but they also didn't track their food and they didn't, drink their water. They're like, oh, I'm not getting results. It's like, well, the workouts are just a small portion of the puzzle, right?
Right.
Nutrition is the most important. Like your non-exercise activity is also a huge portion. Like that's why I give you like a step goal, because the majority of the calories that we burn throughout the day are through our metabolism, which is why our nutrition is so important, and through our non-exercise activity, which is our steps. So you could work out for an hour but then you sit on the couch all day. Like you're not burning all the calories that you need to burn in order to lose weight, because we only burn a small fraction of the calories within the workout. It's the
Right.
rest of the day. It's the rest of the day where we're burning all the calories and losing the weight, right?
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to ask you, like I put is it my Fitness Pal, the app? I
Yeah.
put that on, I've downloaded that now. So like that's when you say like staying consistent, like that's literally putting in your meals and your workouts and stuff like that. So what's that going to be like from your perspective? Are you like at the end of the week, you're going to check in on each of your people, including Neil, and see, okay, like what's that like for you when you've got a client?
Yeah, so I send everybody a check-in form every Saturday, and then they have usually the day or the weekend to fill it out. And then on Monday mornings, usually I'll do my check-in. So I'll go through each check-in. I'll review I'll send you a series of questions in the check-in form that I'll kind of review, and then I'll pull up your calendar on my computer so I can see your days of the week. I can see if you did your workouts. I can see if you tracked your food. I can see if you hit your nutrition goal. I can see if you got your steps in. I can see if you drank your water. Like you'll notice in your dashboard, it's like it's workout. There's a step goal, there's a nutrition goal, and there's a water goal. So the idea for you is to check off all those boxes every day,
Okay.
and then hit your macros. So at the end of the week, I'll see like, hey, like you did all the things that need to get done, like perfect. Or it's like, hey, you did your workouts, but you didn't get your steps in any of the days. Like I'm just there to kind of make sure that you do all the things and point out what we can do for next week to see improvement, and just to kind of keep you accountable and make sure
Okay.
that you stay on track and that you get results. So
How do I keep track of my steps? I don't have a smart watch or anything. I guess I just carry my phone. There's probably apps that'll track your distance traveled and figure out your steps. Because I don't want
yeah,
to
there
get into like one of those. I had can't remember what it
Fitbit.
was called. Yeah, Fitbit. I had one of those years ago, and like it was kind of cool, but I'm not interested in carrying tech on me all the time. But if I can just throw my phone in my pocket to measure my steps, I'll be happy to do that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's apps that can track it on your phone. Or like
Okay.
I have an Apple Watch which does a lot of tracks your steps and stuff too. Or if you want to, get a Fitbit if you're down for that. But yeah, it's just good to know, because even like for me, when I like worked in my office, like if I didn't go out for a walk and move, I'd get like 3,000 steps a day, maybe if I just worked. Right.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people do is they get
Oh, I
up, they get ready, they go and they sit down for 9 hours. They get up, they drive home, they cook, and they sit down for another, and then they sleep. So they're getting very, very little, um, movement, daily movement, when maybe they did work out for half an hour as well, but then they
right.
also sat for the rest of the day. So that the rest of the day is very important that you do get your steps in, and because it is a big part of the calories that we burn. So if that means you have to get up and go for a walk, or every once in a while get up and walk around, just keep moving and try to hit that step goal, because it is a huge amount of calories that we burn, and people
Yeah.
people don't really realize that. Like, so that's kind of why you have that step goal.
Okay. All right. So getting started, like today's the day we decided this is, when we're going to kick this off. Like I've got all the things you sent me. What should be my focus in the beginning? Like because you've sent me a lot of material and I do intend to read
Mhm.
through it. I've got your stuff here printed off. I'm going to do it, but what would you say like is the first thing? Because it's easy to digest things in smaller steps for me rather than just like I'm probably not going to be hitting step goals and having all
Yeah,
the really logged in day one. It's
yeah.
probably going to be like hopefully a little more progress each day to figure out what I'm doing here. But that's how I do pretty well everything, including this podcast. Is like
Yeah,
figure it out
for
as I
sure.
go.
Yeah, and just try to get 1% better every day. So if you like open up your phone in the app that we're working on, like I do have a video in there for you to watch on day one, and it kind of
Yeah.
gives you a little bit of a breakdown of what I expect for you from the first few weeks. But basically, like, I don't expect you to be perfect, right? I don't expect you to nail everything for the first week. So I think the biggest thing for you is to just start getting used to tracking your food and being aware of what you're putting in your body. That is going to be the biggest thing. Obviously, try to get your workouts in as well. But like I said, I don't expect you to be perfect every day. Just try your best to, track your food, get your steps in, drink your water, and do your workouts. And if you don't, nail everything the first week, not too worried about it. Right. It's just more about getting you into the routine, getting you into the habits of doing all the things. So I think the biggest thing is tracking your food.
Okay.
Um, and if you don't get all your water in today, just try to get it tomorrow,
Yeah.
right? And even if you do, have, quote unquote bad food, like you go maybe stop to the drive through, still track it. Like, still a lot of people will avoid tracking those things that they don't want their coach to see,
Yeah.
but that's part of the thing that's going to help you keep accountable. And the more you do this, the more you get familiar with like the macros and tracking macros, the more you'll understand that, hey, I can hit the drive through, I can grab a burger and fries and still lose weight. once you
Right.
kind of get used to it. And that's where the balance comes in, like the 80-20 balance where you want it. But for now, I think just the biggest thing is just really focus on tracking your food and making
Okay.
sure that you make that a habit,
Okay.
um, so that you can, because it's all about habits. So what happens, is what people usually do is like they'll do good from Monday till like Thursday afternoon with everything, tracking their food, drinking their water, getting their steps. The weekend will come, and then maybe they won't track their food, or they won't get their steps in, and they won't drink their water, and then they have to restart on Monday. But if you think, if like I said before, if 21 days it creates a habit, well, you just did 4.5, and then you stopped, and then you restarted, and you do
Right.
4.5, and then you stop, and then you restart. So even though the weekends are going to be your rest days, like you're only going to work out maybe, I think we have 4 workouts for you to start. So even if you work out Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and you're not working out on Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, still make sure you track your food, still make sure you drink your water, still make sure you get your steps in every day, right?
Okay.
Especially on your rest days, because if you do that and you stop tracking food on the weekend, you got to restart your habit again on Monday. So, and
Right.
it's all about developing habits and rituals, even on your rest days. um and the more you do this, the more you get used to like meal prep and getting familiar with the apps. It can be quick. Like I know a lot of
Yeah.
people think like tracking their food, it's like, oh, it's tedious and whatever, but the more you get used to it, the easier it is. Like,
Yeah.
um
I
if
can,
you're
I
like
think, sorry, Doug, I think meal prep is going to be an issue for me to get used to as well, because I don't like it. And
yeah.
I don't like leftovers. You know what I mean? Like I like my food freshly prepared. So that's going to be
Yeah.
something that I'm going to struggle with a little bit. I can see, and here I am. See, I'm already make pre-made excuses on the go, but
So
I'm just being real. That's something that I see as something I'm not looking forward to.
yeah, so you got to think like, what you did before got you to where you are now.
Hmm.
So you gotta, just because you not meal prepping got you to where you are now. So
Right.
it's gonna, just like anything new, starting something is gonna be a challenge. It's gonna be hard probably, but getting past that hump of that, stress of starting something new or how it's difficult. Once you get past that and it becomes easy to you, then it's easy, right?
Hmm.
Like if you think of anything you're good at now, like your podcast, like if you think back of when you first started whatever you're good at now, when you started it, it was hard, it was uncomfortable, maybe it was like difficult, whatever, but the more you did it, the more it became your normal,
Right.
right? So with anything that you do, with your job or with whatever, um so if you're so used to doing something a certain way, but you're not really happy where that got you, then maybe it's time
That,
to try something new. So
that should
maybe
be the incentive. Yeah.
yeah. So like maybe meal prep wasn't the thing for you because you don't like doing it. Well, maybe now it's time to try it. Right.
On that
So
note, Doug, like as a person, because I work from home
yeah,
often, like the only time I think I might need meal prep is if I were on the road or something. So I'm not
yeah,
doing so much takeout. But like, I mean, just working from home and I can prepare my meals as I need them like that. Maybe I don't even need to worry about it as much as somebody who's in an office 5 days a week.
yeah, exactly. So for you, if you are working from home, if you can be disciplined enough to make a good meal at lunchtime, then do it. But
Hmm.
if you get into the habit of like being super busy at home, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna order something quick or whatever, then it's like, okay, maybe I do need meal prep at home.
Yeah.
But you know, for you working from home, maybe you don't. So start with that. If you can find that you're making yourself good meals at home while you're during the day, then that's totally fine. Like for me, like I work from home too. I still have my meals prepped because I like to have it quick, and like you store in the microwave for an hour or for an hour, a minute and a half, and then you eat it while you're still working. Like for me, like just where I'm at now, like time is very valuable. Like I don't have an extra like half an hour every day to be cooking a meal.
Right.
Whereas I'm just always go, go, go. So for me, putting it in the microwave, even though I am working from home, and then eat it while I'm still working is what works for me. So
I'll
if
have to
whatever
figure that
works,
out as I go.
yeah, exactly. And it's kind of learning this new lifestyle that you're starting, right? And this, like I said, you only signed up for 12 weeks, but you want to develop these habits so that when the 12 weeks is over, you carry on with all the things that you're doing. So it's finding what works for you and your lifestyle, right? So
Yeah.
what works for you might not work for my next client, right?
Right.
Everybody's different. It's just finding what works for you and your lifestyle and that you can carry on forever.
Yeah.
So
On that note, I was just curious because you mentioned earlier about all the different types of diets and things like that. You know, people have keto, they have vegan, they have gluten intolerance. Like, do you adjust your meal plans for people based on stuff like that? Like, just as a curiosity, like, is that something that you adjust for the different client needs?
Yeah, so like I try to just have everybody on like the no diet almost like the 80-20 rule. Like I explained, where it's like 80% healthy, nutritious foods, 20% whatever you want, as long
Yeah.
as you stay within your calorie budget and you hit your macros.
Okay.
So if you are, a vegan or whatever, like you still want to try to hit your protein, because protein is the
Mhm.
number one important macro. Like you need
Yeah.
to get protein for it's there's a lot of benefits obviously for building muscle, but there's a lot of weight loss benefits as well. I think I actually
Right.
just posted a reel about that, how important it
Yeah.
is for protein.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you are a vegan, might be a little bit harder to find those protein sources, but it's not impossible.
Mhm.
And then with the meal guide, like I don't know if you look at it, but it's more of like a guide. Like it's not like a eat this exactly. It's like, okay, for lunch, you're gonna have this many grams of your favorite protein source, whether that is, and then you go to the list and it's either chicken or ground beef or ground turkey, whatever you like. And then it'll
Right.
be like 100 grams of a carb source. And you go to the list and it's like either yams or rice or quinoa or whatever you want. So it's not super strict because I want you to find foods that work for you.
Right.
So it kind of gives you that freedom to find what works for you so that you can sustain it. Because if I tell
Right.
you like, yeah, like you can eat chicken, rice, and broccoli every day for lunch and it will work, but maybe you
It's just
don't
gonna
like
get
doing that.
boring. Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
get boring
So
real quick.
like for me, I'm super boring. I can eat, chicken, rice, and broccoli every day for lunch, and I'm totally fine with that. But I also understand that not everybody can do that.
Right.
So for your guide at lunch, it says like have pick a protein from the list, pick a carb from the list, and then have some veggies. And
Yeah.
that's what it is. Whether that is chicken, pork chops, ground beef, whatever it is, and then maybe it's yams or rice or whatever, and finding what works for you in your lifestyle and what you actually enjoy.
Do you have any good suggestions for where, like, a spot to get good healthy recipes or anything like that for somebody who wants to try out some? I feel like I saw you share something recently from maybe your clients or something where they were sharing healthy recipes, or maybe am I wrong with that? Like, do you have
Yeah.
any
So
recommendations?
So I have a like a sorry Neil, but it's like a ladies only Facebook community. Because I do
They don't
mostly
want some
work.
pre.
There's one guy in there.
See,
Um
am I your only? Oh yeah, that's right. I've seen you
no,
do have another guy.
no, I
That's
have
what I was thinking.
I have like 5 or 6, male clients, and I have lots more in the past. Just
Mhm.
my main like target, because of my story that we talked about last time, is busy moms. But I also have a couple like younger athletes that I work with as well. I also have guys like you. I also have like I can work with everybody. Like it's the
Right.
same principles for everybody. It's just who I target with my social media and who I speak to is kind of who my audience is. But the same principles. But for in terms of like recipes, there's so many good like Instagram pages that have like awesome, like super easy, macro friendly recipes. I know one of my favorites is it's called the flexible dieting lifestyle. And the guy makes like macro friendly like pizza, burgers, like ice cream, like so many like different like quote unquote unhealthy looking food, but it's like all macro friendly and low calorie, and
And
it's awesome.
you've tried these
I
things,
try,
and they're
yeah, I've tried some of them, and it's awesome. Like I even made one. It was like make your own McChicken sandwich from McDonald's,
okay.
and it just kind of gives you a recipe and you make it, and it's just like lower calorie and higher protein, but it like tastes kind of the same, right? And he makes
Yeah.
like pizzas and like chicken fingers, like a whole bunch of those kind of foods that are a little bit more macro friendly, and it's called the flexible dieting lifestyle. But man, there's so many on Instagram. Like the more you
Yeah.
look at them on Instagram, the more the Instagram algorithm will toss them your way. So once you
Yeah.
start watching a couple, you'll see a lot more. But yeah, there's so many out there, so many
I'm sure
pages that you can find.
talking about food too, and how, like, making a healthy version of something that might not be traditionally healthy, like, you can sort of train your taste buds as well to become used to something. Like, for example, I used to drink coffee with 2 cream, 2 sugar, and I started to wean myself down. And now if I have a coffee with sugar and even milk in it, it's gross to me because I've gotten used to just drinking black coffee. And I
Yeah.
remember reading a book once, it was about keto diets. And he was talking about, we've become so accustomed to what he called hyper palatable foods because of all the sugars and things that are in them. And like once you kind of make your body used to just eating what's nutritious, that's what your body will start to crave.
Yeah,
That's my understanding. So that's my hope, at least,
for
because
sure.
like I've told you, that's one of my biggest struggles is the junk food. Like I like
Mhm.
sugar, I like salt, chips, and anything baked.
Yeah.
It's really difficult for me to resist.
Yeah, and you can have all that stuff, but like I said, it's a balance. But like once you start eating that 80-20, like 80% nutritious foods, you're gonna find that like all that kind of junk food just makes you feel even worse after.
Yeah,
So, and you kind of crave like the fruit and stuff like that. And you kind of you just feel better. Like I know like if I'm on vacation, I'm eating a lot of like, eating out a lot. I'm just like, I just can't wait to just have some chicken, rice, and broccoli. Like I
yeah,
know that sounds super boring, but just not because of the way it tastes, but because of the way I feel after.
yeah.
Like
It's
when
like
you're eat
putting premium fuel in your body instead of
exactly.
regular. So
Yeah,
if
because
you,
your body is a machine. So
yeah,
if you're just filling it with like you're either running on empty or you're just filling it with like bad fuel, then
mhm,
you're just going to feel like that, right?
yeah,
So you will find that you kind of crave healthier food, not because of the way it tastes, but because of the way you feel after. So like
mhm,
even with like the fitting it into your macros and eating those kinds of foods, like you are going to find that like you are going to feel worse when you eat crappy food, because that's usually how people feel all the time. They always feel like crap, they always feel sluggish because they are eating those kinds of foods,
right,
right? But you're just going to
yeah,
feel so much better once you start eating properly. You'll just
right.
feel overall better, energy levels, like just you just feel better.
Yeah, cool. I had a question on the tip of my tongue and I forgot about, oh God, it slipped right out of my mind. Um, shit. Sorry about that, Doug.
It's all good, buddy. Just chop it
What
up
else
in the
did I want
editing room.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, like, because I play soccer and stuff like that. So like, how do I fit things like that into the plan? Is it in my fitness pal? If I go play a game of soccer, is there a thing for if I'm a good boy and want to do extra work and put it in there? Like, is that an option as well? And does it count towards, I guess, I mean, it counts to me, but is it something that fits into the program
Yeah,
as
yeah, for
valuable? I
sure.
suppose?
So like in your dashboard, you can add like exercise. You can click like there's a little plus sign and you go like soccer for an hour and a half,
Okay,
whatever. So yeah, that'll count towards like your steps and your
right.
activity, but still do your workouts.
Yeah,
And I have your workouts kind of just set for like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, just because that's just the way it is. But you can move them around. So let's say you have soccer on Tuesday night. Maybe you'll work out Monday, play soccer on Tuesday, work out on Wednesday, right? And kind of spread them out. Um, but that's how you want to do it. So if you don't want to work on Monday, work out Tuesday, and then also play soccer on Tuesday, and then take Wednesday completely off, you can just kind of adjust them based on your week. So what I recommend you do is like you obviously know what your weeks look like, right? So
yeah,
you have soccer on Tuesday, you have soccer on Thursday. So plan your workouts around that. So then you take those as your off days for your workouts, and you work out on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, right? Whereas don't get into the habit. Like one thing you're gonna notice is that you're not always gonna feel like working out, but you just do it anyways.
that's that's
Because
absurdity.
yeah, so like with anything, like if people that were successful only did things when they felt like it, nobody would be successful at anything,
Yeah,
right? Because you're not always gonna feel like working out. You're not always gonna feel like recording a podcast. You're not always gonna feel like doing your job, but you do
yeah,
it and you
yeah.
get it done and you get the
Humans
results
follow the
from
path of least resistance, and that's just what we do. And like you said, that's how you get to where you are. If that's what you allow to happen all the time. So,
it. Yeah.
life isn't bad, but I recognize that I need to make changes, not just in the way I feel and perceive the world, but physically. I think it's all going to come if I can stay on this path with my self-reflection and how I'm trying to grow as well as my fitness. I think it's all going to click and
Oh
I'll
yeah.
basically be superhuman by this time next
You
year.
you might be Superman this next year. It
Take
might
up
be.
vigilante work or something like
Yeah.
follow that dream.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, what I was gonna say is like with that, with like setting your week ahead of time, like plan your week ahead. So don't get in the habit is like, let's say you get to like Wednesday and it's Wednesday, you're like, I don't feel like working out today. I'm just going to push it back till tomorrow. Like that is just a bad habit that will eventually snowball into you skipping more workouts, turning into you skipping, and then falling back into where you were before. So
Yeah.
like say at the beginning of the week, plan your week ahead. So you know what days you're working out and you work out no matter how you feel, because you're not going to feel like working out, but once you start, you'll be like, okay, I'm glad I'm here. And then once you're finished, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm so glad that I finished that.
Yeah.
Because you're always going to regret the workouts that you skip every time.
Yeah.
The next morning, or like let's say you plan to work out at 6 a.m. and your alarm goes off and you're like, oh, I'm tired. Hit the snooze button. You're gonna wake up at your normal time. You're like, I should have just worked out. Like I should have. And then you don't. And that's just a bad habit to get into because like I said, you're not always going to feel like working out. So whenever you plan on working out, whether that is in the morning, whether it is on your lunch break or in the evening, you do it because you plan on doing it, you committed to doing it. And that's kind of the biggest thing is
So
committing
you're
to
saying
yourself.
like instead of like going through the week and like looking, sitting at my desk and be like, I think I'll do a workout, have it planned
Plan it.
out the time for the whole week and try
Yeah.
to, yeah, I think I need to adopt that sort of thing. And there are times that I can see road, because occasionally I'll have to leave to go on the road, but I'll figure that out. I've got stuff to take. I've even done hotel room workouts before. So just to get something in, not often, mind you, but I
Yeah.
have done.
Yeah. And
So
even if you don't have the equipment and you don't have a gym, like do something in your hotel room. Even if you just did like I like to say, like if you just do like 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and 100 sit-ups, like not all in a row, but if you
right.
break it down, like let's say I do 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, 20 squats, take a break, 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, 20 squats, and then take a break and do that until you get to 100 each. So for 5 rounds or
Yeah.
10, yeah, 5 rounds. Um, then that's a good workout, right? It might
Yeah.
not be exactly what your plan was, but people would be like, oh, I don't have the gym. I can't do anything. It's like, if you have a 3 foot space around you, you can get a workout in,
Yeah.
right? And it doesn't have to
Absolutely.
be long. It can be 20 minutes. Like it doesn't have to be a super extravagant workout. It
Hmm.
can just be something in the corner of the hotel room, and you can get it done, and then you feel good about it after. So, yeah, there will be times when you're on the road that you do have to adapt, and maybe you can't do the exact workout that was planned, but you do something.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, I think is there anything else you want to talk about, like how the program's going to go, or you?
Um, did you have any other questions about it, like about?
Not really. I kind of wanted to just get your input on what to expect, where to start,
Yeah.
what I should focus on in the beginning, and then like kind of build on that as the program goes on. And I'll tell you right now, if after the 3 months is up and I have success, if there's like a little hint of abs there, I'll sign up. I'll sign up for some more time with you.
Yeah, and you will, if you follow the program, you will 100%. I mean, if you do everything that I say and you don't, I'll give you your money back. Like that's it. That's how confident I am. And if you just follow the program, you will see results. Like,
Yeah.
but the people that don't see results are the ones that are very inconsistent. So
Yeah.
the biggest thing for you is consistency, and
Hmm.
sticking to the program even when you don't feel like it, and being consistent all the way through. Because yeah, if you just track some days and you get your steps some days, and you're just kind of here or there with everything, and you might be doing more than you did before, which is obviously better, but it's just you want to develop habits into doing this every day and sticking to your plan, um, because you committed to it, right? And you just kind of think about why you're doing this, whenever you feel like quitting or
Yeah.
not doing something, just think about why you're doing it. And
Yeah.
and that should get you be like, okay, the workouts are only 30 minutes long, right?
Hmm.
There's really no excuse. And I kind of jump back to what you said before about, finding the time to work out. So that's why like you schedule them ahead of time, because if you just wait to find the time, you're never going to find it, because there's always something to do,
Yeah.
right? For you, especially being a busy guy working from home, there's always something that you can be doing,
Yeah.
right? So if you don't make the time, you're never going to find the time. So, and that's where a lot of people are like, oh, I just don't have time to work out. It's like, well, you do. There's, 168 hours in a week.
Yeah.
Um, you
Well, I
know,
mean, if you just look at how many times a person picks up their phone and
look
scrolls
at your
for
screen
10,
time.
50. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think that would, I mean, I know I've wasted so much time just scrolling. And I mean, if everybody looked at that, then they got to throw that excuse out the window.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because like yeah, like there's 168 hours if you sleep 8 and work 8. That still leaves you with like whatever, I don't know, like whatever the math is there. A lot of time
Yeah,
to
just
and
gonna
if you work
prioritize it and show up.
yeah, and if you work out for 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, that's only 2.5 hours in a
Yeah.
whole week. Like you have that. You just got to make time for
There's
it.
really no valid excuse. It just comes down to the person. Like, and like, I kind of, signing up for your program, it's not cheap. So I don't want to waste my money. So
Mhm.
that's another incentive as well, is like, I want to get my money's worth out of this. I don't just want to help you buy a Mercedes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a Mercedes.
Not
So
yet.
it's
Not
yeah, not
yet.
yet. Yeah. But yeah, I think just, be consistent, don't be hard on yourself if you do miss a workout or if you do have a bad day, because that's where a lot of people will fall is they will, really beat themselves up about a bad night or whatever. And then they just let that like affect them mentally. Whereas like, and if you miss a workout, like if you miss one workout, it's not going to affect you physically, but it might affect you mentally in snowballing into you like slowly reverting back to old habits. So the biggest thing is habits and developing those habits and making it a lifestyle, because yeah, like most people do it for 2 weeks and then quit. And
Mhm.
you're going to find near the end of week 2, beginning of week 3, you might slowly start to feel yourself wanting to revert back to old habits. And that's where most people quit.
Is that
So,
something you've noticed with your clients? Have they confessed to you that after kind of the 2 week is the magic?
yeah,
You know, for
yeah.
everybody, that's kind of a part. What would you call that? A barrier or something you just got to get past, and
Yeah,
a
that
hurdle,
and
I
that
suppose.
that's with everybody. Like everybody who starts a program with anything, or just anybody that starts anything, usually the end of week 2, beginning of week 3 is when they slowly start to slip. And that doesn't mean that you fall completely off the wagon on week 3, but you might be, skip tracking a few more meals that here and there. You might skip a workout there, or whatever, might have a few more cheat meals that week or whatever. But it'll slowly start to go backwards around that mark. So usually at the end of week 2, I like really, affirm that to my clients. Like, hey, just so you know, this is when people usually tend to start to slip. This is when you've probably slipped in the past. So week 3 is like a really important week to like really lock it in, because that is also around the time where you're going to start to see physical results, is like week
Right,
3, week 4. Like you're probably not going to see anything physically like week 1, week 2.
right.
You'll feel different, the scale will go down a little bit, but looking at yourself, you probably won't see a lot. And that's why
Right.
people quit after 2 weeks, because they've been working so hard for 2 weeks. They look in the
Yeah.
mirror, it's like, I look the same.
On
Um,
that note, I see you often will share like the pictures of your clients' success, like show their progress photographs. Is that like, I didn't even think of that until just now. Like, it's that, and in the questionnaire, I had to fill out like my measurements. Or I don't. I'll get a tape. It's not a big
yeah,
deal, but that's probably a good thing to as well for yourself, because if you take a photo at the start and then if you see the
progress.
progress yourself, because
Yeah,
you're not going to see it looking in the mirror every day.
no,
But
progress photos are the most important way to track progress.
okay,
So I do need you to take progress photos this morning if you haven't already. And like I
I'll
said,
do
I
it.
won't I won't share
I'll
them
do it.
unless you give me the green light.
I don't
Like,
want you putting them as your phone wallpaper either. Okay, like
well, hey, I said I
they're
won't
gonna be
share them. I didn't say I won't keep them. um,
put
no,
them in
but
your
like,
special folder.
yeah. So like for all those photos that I share, like I have so many more clients that are just like not comfortable with me sharing, that I
Right.
just don't share, which is unfortunate. But
Yeah.
like I'll only share them if you give me the green light to share them, which once you get ripped, you might want to. But progress photos are the most important way to track progress, because we are going to be building lean muscle while burning body fat. So, you could have a couple weeks where you build you gain 5 pounds of lean muscle, you lose 5 pounds of body fat, but the scale stays the same.
Yeah.
But you're
Well,
like, oh,
and lucky
it's not working.
for me, Doug, like the weight, yes, I have a number I've given you where I want to get to, but
Mm,
I'm not super hung up on the weight. It's more
good,
how I feel. Like, so I'm not, if I look at the scale and it hasn't changed in a week, I'm not going to be too concerned. Like, it's more about how I feel in life and in sport than anything for
perfect.
me. So it was just a number I came up with because I've been there before and it felt pretty good.
Yeah,
So I
yeah, but
found that's like my fighting weight, I call it.
yeah, your weigh in day weight. But yeah, like progress photos are the most important way to track progress, because I've had clients where they'll take a progress photo and the first month they like kind of fluctuate around the same weight, and they're like, it's not working. I'm like, take your progress photos and let's talk. And then they take their progress photos and it looks like they lost 10 pounds from the
Right.
photos, but the scale didn't move. And they're like, oh my God. Like, and I'm like, yeah, that's why people will quit, is because they didn't
Yeah.
take progress photos. They're only going by the number on the scale. When you focus on everything else, like the progress photos, how you feel physically, like how you feel mentally, your energy levels, if you focus on all those, then, but the scale didn't move, like they'll consider that a failure because the scale
Yeah.
didn't move. Even though they
Yeah.
look 10 pounds lighter, they have more energy, they feel better, they have more confidence, but the scale didn't move, so they'll quit.
They get hung
So
up on
it's,
that number so much.
yeah, a lot of people do. A lot of people are like you, where it's like, I don't really care what the scale looks like as long as, I look better and I feel better. But a lot of people are hung up on that number.
Right.
So it is changing a lot of people's mindset about that. Um, and knowing that also, like, it takes time to lose weight. If you want to lose weight and keep it off forever, it takes time. But like society and all the magazines, in the grocery aisles, like lose 30 pounds in 30 days. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you could lose 30 pounds in 30 days, but once you stop doing whatever you did to do that, you're going to gain it all back.
Yeah.
So, if you ever do a diet, like if somebody, you see a diet and you ask yourself, hey, can I do this forever? Will this fit my lifestyle forever? If the answer is no, then don't do it.
Right.
Right. Because a lot of people will lose a bunch of weight. Like I know a lot of people have said, like, oh, I'm just going to do this crash diet, lose 20 pounds, and then I'll just maintain that. It's like, well, it's not that easy, because once you stop doing what you did to get to that 20 pounds lost, it's hard to maintain. You're just going to gain it all back. Right.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have done that, where they'll do a crash diet, lose a bunch of weight, and then, yeah, that was cool, I lost 20
They can't
pounds. And then
sustain it.
they'll gain it all back. So it's all about finding a sustainable approach to your nutrition, to your fitness, right? You're not going to be working out twice a day, starving yourself, because that's not sustainable. You're going to find a workout plan that fits your lifestyle. Like for somebody like you, 4 30-minute workouts is perfect, right? A lot of my clients are busy moms where they don't have time to be going to the gym for hours. So same thing, 4 to 5 30-minute at-home workouts while the kids are napping, or before they get up, or after they go to bed, that fits their lifestyle. And then having that 80-20 balance where they can still have ice cream with their kids, they can still have pizza with their husband, they can still go out on dates and have wine, or they can go out and have wine with the girls. They can still do all that stuff and not feel guilty about it.
Right.
Where like a lot of girls will go out, like it's girls' night. I can't have wine and I have to have a salad. It's like, no,
Yeah.
have a glass of wine and have a burger and fries if you want. Like
Yeah.
that's totally fine. And you can lose weight.
Yeah.
But people think that just because they're going out, they have to have a piece of lettuce and that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, have a burger if you want.
One one thing I wanted to ask you, going back to the workouts, is like, do you change it as the program goes on? Like, I assume it's probably like an introductory type level for me starting out, but like after a month of this, do you increase the intensity, or will you, like, if your clients are like, I'd like to add a workout, are you flexible in modifying it for people who want to change it as they go, to like maybe raise the bar a little bit for them?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like, so it, for one, the workout switch every 4 to 6 weeks. For the first, I think 6 months, it's every 4 weeks. The workouts will switch. And then after 6 months, it's usually every 6 weeks. You don't, one mistake that a lot of people make is they switch out their workouts too much, right? They try a different workout every week. And the only way to build muscle is to progressively overload the muscle. So for example, if you're doing, let's say a set of 8 to 12 bicep curls. So you do 8 to 12 bicep curls this week. Next week, you want to do either heavier weight or more reps, right? So if you did 20 pounds for 8 reps, next week you want to try to do 20 pounds for maybe 10 reps, or maybe
Right.
25 pounds for 8 reps, and progressively overload every week. And you're going to find, like, in the app, it's awesome. Like it'll show you what you did last week. So
Okay.
if you did do 20 pounds for 8 reps, then you'll see that. Okay, I'm gonna try to increase the weight. And that's how you progressively overload. That's how you build lean muscle. Whereas a lot of people will switch out their workouts too much. Like like with like fitness classes, like they're fun, they get people moving, they get people sweating, but they're not really progressively overloading, because next week they're doing something different. So let's say, for example, you do those curls. Now you don't do bicep curls for another 3 weeks.
So
Then
you're
you're like,
kind of,
okay, well, you're kind of going back to like, okay, now I'm only doing 8 pounds or 20 pounds for 8 reps again. Right. So
mhm.
you're not really progressively overloading. So you have the same workout every Monday for 4 weeks, and you try to push yourself each week. and then you kind of do that. So that's where people try to mix it up too much. But some coaches do like 8 to 12 weeks for one program, for one workout. I know people get bored, especially with a lot of my clients who are busy moms. They want something new. So I go every 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
And then, yeah. And so it'll switch every 4 to 6 weeks. And then if there is something that you're like, hey, because of this nagging injury, I can't do this. I'll be, okay, I'll switch it out with something else. Or you're like, hey, this workout was kind of easy. So I'll be, okay, well, I'll switch it up a little bit. Or like, hey, that was too hard, or I can't do this. I'll kind of talk to you about it. Cause a lot of people will be like, I can't do this. I'm like, okay, well, can you not do it because it's difficult, or can you not do it because of an actual injury? So,
Right.
a lot of people won't do something because it's uncomfortable. But,
Right.
the only way to grow in anything is to get outside your comfort zone. So you want to always be pushing yourself through that discomfort. Right. And there's
Okay.
a difference between, being sore from a workout and like legitimate injury and pain. Right. There is a difference. So
Yeah.
it's kind of navigating everybody through. So like, after this week, you might be like, okay, that was a good, pace. Or maybe it's too easy, or it's too hard, or I think
On
I
that
could do another
note,
workout. Let's add another one.
do you have any pointers for like, because I haven't been working out as regularly as I would like, and I'm going to be probably dealing with a little bit of the aches and pains the next day. Any tips for that? Because I'll be honest with you, that's something I hate about when I go through those periods where I put it off. It's honestly a factor in my mind as to why I
Mm.
continue to put it off, because I hate that, you go out and you do a workout and you can't bend your arms for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Like any pointers for that? Or do you expect like your entry level stuff? Maybe that's not even really going to be an issue.
Yeah, everybody's different. So when you do get back into fitness, you're gonna have that delayed onset muscle soreness, is what it's called. After a
Mm.
workout, you can't walk because you did legs or whatever.
Yeah.
You're gonna have that, but
Okay.
do like a good warm up before you start. If you have a treadmill at home, go for like a 5 minute walk on an incline, just kind of get the blood flowing. If you don't, maybe do some jumping jacks, just kind of something to get the blood flowing for 3 to 5 minutes. Do that, just kind of get your body moving. And then after, make sure that you just do a little stretch, when you're done. And make sure you drink your water, all day.
That helps a lot with it, does it?
Yeah, because your muscles rely on water. So a lot of people won't be drinking any water, and they'll get cramps, and they'll be dehydrated after doing a workout. When they drink water during their workout, but they didn't drink any water for the rest of the day. So it's just important to always be drinking water. Hit your water goal. Maybe don't drink it all right before you go to bed, but water is super important for everything, for building lean muscle, for like that delayed onset muscle soreness, for weight loss. Water is just key. It's just the key to everything, right? So that's super important. But yeah, you're just know that you are going to have that soreness because you are working muscles. Even if you go light, you know, you are going to have that. But don't push yourself too hard at the start. Like obviously do the workouts, but don't overdo it. Don't try to be Superman on day one. Just work on getting your body moving again, right?
Don't have to worry about that with
Superman
me.
comes on month 3.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I think that's given me a good overview of what to expect and how this is going to go. I'll get those progress photos today. And the
Yeah, just
measurements.
upload them in the app.
Okay. Before we like close down, I just wanted to talk about you a little bit. Like you had shared recently that you have a personal trainer yourself and you're hitting some goals yourself. You gained 32 pounds of muscle this year. That's impressive.
Yeah,
How much of that is in your calves?
zero. I think zero. I don't, when I take my progress photos, I just set it right behind my legs and I do calf progress photos and it's just not moving.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Like, and this is a good example of why progress photos matter, because I see you regularly. You post a lot of content, and like I didn't really notice it until you did your side by side. Like you can see it. You're beefier.
Yeah, like, and same with me too. Like I can see the scale moving. I feel kind of bigger, but until you put the photos side by side, then you're like, okay, like wow, like I didn't notice. But yeah, to answer your question, I have a coach. Like, not I don't have a coach because I don't know what I'm doing. I have a coach because it's someone that keeps me accountable, supports me. I like to have my workouts given to me so I don't have to think about it. Right? He gives me
Right.
new workouts and yeah, and I make a plan with him and just kind of, because I have my own goals too, that it is nice having that support and that accountability. um that's what, because for me, like I have so many clients that like a lot of times I found that I was putting so much energy and focus onto helping them achieve their goals that my own goals were kind of falling to the back burner. And I was just kind of going through the motions of my workouts, and my nutrition was kind of whatever. And I was like, well, I need someone to hold me accountable too. Like I'd be kind of a hypocrite if I didn't have a coach myself. And I know
Right.
a lot of like the coaches that I network with, like they all have coaches, like they all have goals as well. And it is about having the support and the accountability, and making a plan with them, and rather than doing it yourself. Because like I said, I like it's not because I don't know what I'm doing, it's because I like having that support. And yeah.
Yeah.
And my goal, because like since I've been into fitness for the last like 12 years or so, like I've always been kind of fit and working out and stuff like that, but I've never done like a real like bulk for that long before. So like, yeah, at the beginning of the year, we're like, let's just bulk for the full year. Like, let's just really dive into it. And we're going to be lifting a lot of heavy weight. We're going to be eating a lot of food, eating a lot of protein, and we're just going to bulk for the full year. And I was
What's your
like, well,
goal
can we,
there? Do you
I was
mind
like,
sharing? Like, do you have a specific, like, what is it? Is it just to get as big as you can in a year and then get shredded next year? Is that your objective?
yeah, so the goal is to put on as much lean muscle as possible while putting on like minimal body fat. Like a
Mhm.
lot of people will do like a dirty bulk where they just eat a whole bunch of food and just whatever, not even care. And they'll put on a lot of body fat as well. But my goal is to like put on little body fat. Like when you do a bulk, like I'm doing, you are going to put on a little bit of body fat. Like it's just gonna come. So so the goal is just to kind of do this as clean and get as big as I can in the year, like all natural, just all eating a lot of food, working out a lot, and then at the end of the year we'll do a cut and just kind of peel back the layers and see what we come up with. So that is the goal for me. I know at first when he was like, "We're gonna bulk for the full year," I was like, "Ah, can we summer though? Like, can we take a little bit of a break? I got to take my shirt off." And it's like, well, I mean, if you like, and that's where a coach comes in. He's like, well, yeah, like if you want, but you're not going to see the best results if you do like a 3 month bulk and then like a 3 month cut for summer, and then another, like he's like, if you just power through this year and really focus on building lean muscle, then when we cut back in January and cut, you're going to notice like a much bigger difference and a much better kind of physique once you do that, rather than doing like 3 month bulk, 3 month cut, 3 month bulk, 3 month cut, right? Where it's like just power through 12-month bulk and then cut and kind of peel the layers back. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
my goal, is just try to get big and put on a lot of lean muscle. And yeah, that's where I'm at. And it's good.
Good
Like
for you. Well, it seems like you're getting there. Good for you. Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah,
You mentioned
it's
like natural, like, of course I know natural, but like, what sort of supplements are you doing? Like, I know protein powder. Is there anything
mhm,
outside of that that you would recommend for me or anybody that is like kind of a safe thing for everybody? Or like, is that part? I didn't really look at the meal planning, but I did see like some of the snacks would be like a scoop of protein sort of
for
thing.
sure. So
Like
I'll
what?
kind of go with what I'm taking. Then I'll kind of tell you what like I recommend to my clients. So for me, yeah, like pre-workout, protein powder, uh, BCAAs, which are branched chain amino acids, which basically help with protein synthesis. So helps the protein kind of attach to the muscles. Just kind
Is
of
that
helps with.
is that creatine?
No, and then I also take creatine as well. So
Okay.
creatine is super beneficial for building lean muscle. I know there's a lot of myths about creatine and stuff like that, but yeah, I take it. So that's pretty much it. Oh, and like a multivitamin and like a greens, like a green powder. I'm just kind of
Mhm.
get your multivitamin. So that's kind of all I take. There are a lot of supplements that you can take, but with new clients, with new people kind of getting into it, I don't really touch on supplements other than protein powder, because the first thing people ask me when they want to lose weight is like, what supplements should I take? When supplements don't matter. You don't need any supplements. Like unless your workouts and your nutrition is dialed in, supplements aren't going to help you, right? Supplements just kind of fill like nutritional gaps, right? So, for example, for protein powder, like you, you have a certain protein goal. A lot of people have trouble getting that with eating whole foods. So you throw a scoop or two of protein powder, that's going to help you get to your goals. But if you like, the goal for new clients is like focus on your nutrition, and then once you get that dialed in, then we can, talk about adding, maybe some branched chain amino acids or some creatine or whatever. But I don't like people to focus on that at the start. because they really just need to focus on your nutrition. That's all you really need to
It's
focus
kind of
on.
keep it simple. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
If you start throwing in all that, it can get overcomplicated too. Like
Yeah.
that,
And if you've ever, if
it's
you've
more
ever walked
advanced,
into,
frankly.
yeah, if you've ever walked into a supplement store, like it can be overwhelming because there's so much there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it all does a certain thing, right? But it won't do anything if you're not locked in with your nutrition and you're not working out regularly, right? So that's why I don't really touch on supplements for new clients, because
Right.
they don't need it yet. They just need to
Cool.
dial in their nutrition. They need to get in the habit of working out.
I can
So
appreciate
yeah,
that. I like it. Is keep it I mean, there is still a lot here, but keep it as
yeah,
simple as possible to
and that
just to get started.
yeah, and that's what I try to do. I try to make like the onboarding process for you like as simple as possible. There is a lot of information that I give you just because I want you to have it.
Mm.
But again, then I send you a video today. I says, hey, I don't expect you to be perfect. Like just try to get a little bit better every day, and that's all I expect from you. I'm not gonna yell at you if you don't hit all your steps this week, right? Maybe in week 3, week 4, I might yell at you, but um, it's more
You
about
can
just
ask my
kind of
wife. I don't respond well to yelling.
yeah, I won't yell at
Stop
you.
payment. Stop payment.
Yeah, yeah, I'll come for you.
Yeah. All right,
Um,
buddy.
but yeah, no, like yeah, just like I said, just stay consistent and trust the process, and you'll do all the things, and you'll see results, and you won't only look better, you'll feel better. And
Cool. That's awesome, man. Well, I'm looking forward to getting started. And thank you for agreeing to do a podcast on this. Maybe after the 3 months, we'll do like a progress follow-up thing, because I'm kind of hoping that this will also draw some more interest to you and what you're doing there. So if I can be a successful client, and it's good for me and it's good for you, then let's share it and get some more good energy out there for people to benefit from.
yeah, and like I'm all about helping people. Like if people like listen to this, and maybe they don't hire me, but they like, hey, maybe I do need to make a change, then it's a win. Like,
Yeah, I
you know,
agree.
I I don't care if they don't hire me. Is if this helps you get on track with your fitness goals, if something in this podcast triggered you to, okay, maybe I do need to get on track, and maybe start making those healthy choices, then it's a win.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah, it's
like for
funny.
for
Sorry, Doug, go ahead.
no, you can go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, comparing like my situation to that, like I've had people ask me, how's the podcast going? It's like, I don't really know what you mean by how it's going, because it's like, yeah, I got some people that listen. It's not huge, but I consider it going well because of just how it's made me feel. It's doing something for me. And I honestly feel like sharing it, if I inspire 2, 3, 4 people to try to do something for themselves, that's a
It's a
win for me.
success.
Like,
It's a
I had
success.
somebody
Yeah.
asking me about monetization. Like, he's like, how are you going to monetize that? I'm like, it's not really the focus. Like, maybe one day if I have a huge audience, which I don't expect, I don't think I really want a big audience, because then you've got more scrutiny, right? But it's
Oh
just
yeah.
kind of like, it's been a good project. It's been really good. And each time I do one of these, I feel like I'm getting a little more comfortable with it. Like you said, you just start. So I'm kind of putting all the pieces together and enjoying it for what it is. And I
No,
appreciate you doing this with me again.
yeah, I love that. And like same with me, like the podcast, um, how do you measure success? It's like, I love doing it. If I get 5 people to listen to it and one person enjoys it, that's it's a success in my books, right? If you
Yeah.
if you do it because you actually love it and you love the conversation, then that's a success. It doesn't matter if you have 1 million downloads or if you have 1 download. If you
Mhm.
like doing it, and somebody likes listening, like I think like this, like with all that I do, like with creating like my reels and my YouTube channel and everything, all the videos that I make, like I think podcasting is like my favorite thing to actually do, like
Mhm.
having these
It's fun.
conversations. Yeah, I love it. Like, and I didn't think like I think I mentioned to you, like I was on a guest on a podcast before you, and then I was on yours, and then that inspired me to start mine. Is like talking to you, and like you said, if you just inspire somebody to start something, and I was like, man, I just like talking to you. I like talking about life. I like talking about baseball. So I'm like, starting a podcast isn't hard. Like
No, I
it
know.
literally.
It's funny, Doug. You've started one of my other guests. She's interested in it. I was talking to my sister's boyfriend last night. He's kind of interested in doing it. I'm like, people think it's daunting, but I'm like, if I can figure out how to start a podcast, anybody can, because I'm the
Yeah,
least patient, no tech skills at all. But all you really need is a phone. Like you can
Yeah.
literally do it with your phone if you want. Like you don't need expensive equipment or anything like that. You need just the desire to do it. So
Yeah.
like I love when people say, I want to do one, or it's
Mhm.
just a conversation with me about mine, like make somebody want to do something that they've been putting off. Like that to me is what it's all about. Like it doesn't need to be tons of people. I don't need to have a huge platform. I just want it to,
No.
it's mainly for me, but I think that sharing it will help maybe inspire other people. That's the goal. And if I do, no matter how many it is, that's a success to me.
And
And I
I
think your
think that,
podcast is really good, Doug. Like considering like, you know, right from the start, your audio is really good. Your content's really good. Like you are, and I think it's because of all the social media stuff you've been doing for a while now. Like it's high quality. So, and I enjoy listening to it. I really like the last one with you and your brother talking about Northern baseball training, and it's fun. I haven't listened to everyone because I'm not a baseball guy,
yeah, no, I
but
get, yeah.
I still enjoy tuning in to see where you're at. And the one I recommend, if anybody's listening to this, go listen to I think it was your 10th episode where you talk about.
I think it was the 11th episode. The 10th episode, I kind of just was talking about goals and stuff. 11th episode was me talking about my story and how we started
Yeah,
Northern baseball training. That was probably one of my favorite episodes to record. And it wasn't really, we were just chatting. And
yeah,
I like doing this. And like I said, the podcast, you can do it with your phone. Like I got a nice mic just because, with how like everything that I've done, it's crazy. Like everything that I've done, like with like the YouTube channel and like Northern baseball training has kind of led to like where I'm at now, like with like my personal training business. Like I think I've talked about this last time. Like when I started the YouTube channel, like I was the last person that want to be on camera. Like never, like in a million years would I thought that I would be a YouTube guy, a podcast guy, a guy that would put myself on camera and talk to people. But I did that to help kids, and then that just like kind of slowly built into now it's literally my job to talk to people on camera and make videos and make content, which I never would have expected to happen. So, you know, you start this now because you just like doing it. It might turn into something bigger than you
yeah,
expected, right? Because
yeah.
everything that I'm doing now, I never would have expected. Like I
Yeah,
would
you
never
just
would
took
have
the first
expected.
steps, and those steps led you to where you are. I keep telling you this, and I love watching where you're going and where you've gone since I've met you, since the first Dude Bro convention we hung out at together. Your journeys,
Yeah,
all jokes aside, it's very, very inspiring. So I hope you keep it up, and I can't wait to keep watching. And after our 3 months of this, we'll do another one to show people my abs.
yeah, exactly. We'll just the whole video will just be you standing there shirtless.
That's it. Yeah, I won't wear a shirt for that entire
Yeah,
episode if this works.
yeah. But yeah, thanks for having me on. And like I said, like you starting your podcast inspired me to do mine. So like,
Good, man. Well,
um,
I'm glad to hear it, and we can grow together.
yeah, we'll be the Joe Rogans of podcasting.
Yeah, I think
If
if
you,
you look at the podcast charts, it's him and then it's us
I
right there.
think
We're
it, yeah,
right
yeah, I
below.
think it's me, and then you. I think.
Yeah. So yeah, but we're both up there.
No, like it's fun. Like even with him, like go back and look at his first podcast, his like
Yeah, he
first
started like
episodes, like on a couch and like with the worst camera, like no audio. Like everybody starts somewhere,
I love
and
his story because it was just like to hear him even talk about it. It's just like he never would have predicted it. Like it was just he just liked doing it and built an audience slowly over time. I mean, he is a celebrity to begin with, so he could
help a
build
little
big
bit,
audience.
but
Yeah, but like it's just people like it. People like it because it's somebody who's passionate what he does, and he inspires me a little bit because he's not about any one thing. He has a ton of interests, and he's got a curious mind, and I feel like I'm like that to a degree as well. Like I'll talk to pretty well anybody about anything as long as they're open and honest and want to have a real conversation, because I think we can all share and learn from each other that way. And I'm all about that. So
and that's what makes the best podcasts is people who actually like what they're doing and they're interesting to talk to and they find good people to talk about and that's what you're doing too. So yeah, you could be, you're on episode 12 now, I think. So like, see where you'll be in a year. It
yeah,
might just be something way bigger than you expected, right?
yeah.
And 2 years, 5 years, like it might be something that, you know, maybe you do start monetizing it. You don't know how or why it's going to happen, but it might make you some extra cash, and maybe it does turn into something bigger, right? But if you don't limit yourself and just do it because you love it, it will turn into something bigger than you expect.
Mhm. Right on, brother. Well, I think that's a good spot to shut her down. I do have some
Sure.
work I've got to get to. So thank you very much for doing this. I'll go over everything and I'll get you my topless photos that you keep asking for. I'll
Yeah,
send those later
exactly.
today.
Yeah, no worries.
All
Thanks
right,
again
brother.
for
Thank you
having me.
very much, Doug. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.